Samsung back on blue side. Very curious about their bans this time around.
We'll have to see if the story stays true with Mal's, and there he is. And I'm very curious why teams are doing this. Why they're choosing to ban away Malzahar on the blue side.
Yeah. You could easily just pick it up first. Yep. It was a very common first pick on blue side earlier on in LCK.
So now we're going to have the standard 3 bans come out from the ROX Tigers, probably.
Even I can predict the red side bans this time now, Alice.
What is it, Brendan?
Camille.
Okay. It's
going to be Rengar. I'm going to break the desk. Okay, I was right.
All right, you were right. What's the last ban for the Tigers, Brendan?
Ziggs.
Ziggs?
No, it's Rengar.
Samsung Galaxy now, their final ban, probably going to be directed at bottom or, yeah, well, bottom. I was going to say AD carry or support. And it is the Varus targeted against red side. Seems like Korea might have had enough of that. And this really opens up the window for Jin and Caitlyn to basically show their face more. Ezreal as well. Wow, you're a prophet.
I know, man. I got it down now. Red side bans.
Yep. Let me show you who's. Oh, never mind. The pick already. So Kha'Zix first picked up here by Samsung Galaxy. Now the Tigers made a mistake in their Game 1 draft, and we'll see if they make it again, responding to it here. So they hover Jin. Now I feel like the correct response would be to respond with your jungler here. Don't respond with your mid or top laner, because then it really forces you into an uncomfortable scenario heading into the second pick ban phase.
If they really wanted to, like they've done in the first 2 games, they could go with Jace too. But not going to be the case here, as they do pick up Rek'Sai. It's hovered for now.
So now if you're Samsung Galaxy, I feel like the response here should be AD carry support, and if Jin is picked, then you might just respond with Ashe. And if you want, then you just pick up Misfortune, because then that also soft counters the only remaining support, Zyra. Well, remaining in the sense that it's the more traditional support, but obviously Karma is still on the table, so Ashe Zyra here should almost always be the picks. This is very safe. It doesn't reveal too much. It conceals your mid, it conceals your top laner. Whereas ROX, in the first game, they made the mistake of showing their hand, and those are 2 lanes that are so crucial right now and really dictate the pace of your draft phase, that if you don't need to show them early on, or if there's nothing super contested that's available, then you don't have to do it.
Going down to the wire for pick number 3 of ROX, and it is going to be Karma picked up for their support as we enter ban phase number 2. Going to start with the red side, of course, on their bans, and we'll see what they do want to take away here. They've been banning towards Crown a lot, taking away Orianna twice.
They have been doing that indeed, and we'll see if they keep up their tradition of just trying to ban him away. There's the Orianna hover. We'll see how Samsung Galaxy responds here. They might actually just elect to ban away the Jace from the ROX Tigers here.
I like that idea. I mean, the Jace has been really key for the ROX Tigers so far. Mickey has obviously been practicing that a lot. But,
Rise hover. And remember, the ROX Tigers have the first pick after this, and Corki is still available and on the table. Seems like one of the coaches is talking to Mickey potentially about what he wants to play as they look to decide their final ban here. Wouldn't be surprised if they just continue to target away Crown.
Cassiopeia.
Yep.
I think that's the 3rd time they've banned it too.
Now Samsung Galaxy forced to reply, probably just going to be Jace. And if it is Jace, then Talia is available, Aurelion Sol is available, Corki is still on the table. There's a lot of potential champions that could show their heads.
I want to see an Aurelion Sol game. It's been a while.
Tigers here now have to pick their top laner. They are on red side, might just go with the tank.
Maokai The tree that just never dies is going to be the pick. Going on over to Samsung now.
Now they can go with Fiora or, okay, Shen. This is a champion that has become increasingly more popular in recent weeks as a response to tank top laners. It's not quite the split pusher that Fiora is, but it does offer a lot of team play. And with that Shen, you might want something else to enable him that's not just the Kha'Zix. But instead, they're electing to take the Corki away from Mickey.
Interesting.
And
But maybe you go to Talia.
Yeah.
And go, you know, like another semi-global.
This is going to have to be a Syndra response by Mickey. There's not many mid laners that are still available that can properly respond to the Corki. Azir would get gutted by him in mid lane. Talia wouldn't have the best of times against him getting escorted, at least not against the Kha'Zix dynamic.
And not a lot of nice squishy targets for Syndra too. I mean, you look at Samsung's lineup, they have Ashe, they have Zyra, even Corki, if he oversteps his boundaries, and Kha'Zix when he jumps in. You can stun him, burst him down. I like the pick. It's pretty cool. It's also obviously very strong, Syndra, just in general.
Syndra is very strong indeed, and so now the Tigers are going to be the ones that have a pretty traditional team composition. They don't have the split push available to them, although they do have a pseudo split push inside of the Rek'Sai if the game does get to that point. And meanwhile, on Samsung Galaxy's team composition, they have a lot of stuff. They have anti-engage, they have engage via the Zyra ultimate, or Cube if he hits a flash taunt, and they have poke as well. And so the early game, I feel like, is going to be very crucial for dictating how this game is going to unfold itself, because if ROX can somehow find a way to get Mickey ahead, or even Songyun, then it gets very ugly for Samsung.
Very true, and game number 3 about to start up here. Go out and tell your friends just how exciting game number 2 was, how crazy that was. I think we should have a equally as even game number 3. That's what I would expect coming into this one. So we're going to take a short look at the lineups once again. Lots of good pick from Samsung. Crown on the Corki, one of my favorite picks recently. And we're going to be seeing some more Syndra, which is always explosive. And we do get a Rek'Sai game too.
My only worry, though, is with these laners, with how they've interacted with Seonghwan early on, there's a heavy reliance on making sure that Mickey can get ahead and that Linderong doesn't fall too far behind, but it's going to be very difficult to orchestrate with the Kha'Zix and the Shen up and top, and then the Corki Kha'Zix in mid.
Yeah, so guys, we're jumping into game number 3 right now. Here we are in game number 3. The Samsung Galaxy versus the ROX Tigers.
And both teams fanning out yet again. Nothing too special happening. And basically, I feel like level 3 and 4 for each jungler is really going to tell us what's going to happen in this game, barring something catastrophic happening potentially in bottom or mid. Also interesting, Mickey has the cleanse on his Syndra. And I guess that's just for all the plays that maybe Samsung Galaxy could look to make against him in the mid game. But definitely not the usual ghost that I would be expecting.
Yeah, it seems like he changed that later on too, because at first it was ghost. I was like, okay, this is pretty standard, but more of a later game summoner for Mickey. Just wants to stay alive. Ooh.
First hit going to Crown in mid lane.
Crown starting Q as well.
Yep, not Gatling gun to proc the Thunderlords. Also doesn't have corrupting potion.
That's definitely not Apto in the mid lane.
Not him indeed.
Someone else. It's Crown.
And lots of poke going down in bottom lane for both parties, but ROX getting the shorter end of the stick there.
Yeah, you were talking about that Ashe Jhin matchup. Ashe making use of her early game here. Volley, quite annoying to deal with. League is one of those games that whenever I cast it, I really want to play. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yep. Every time I cast League, as soon as I get home, I just want to play solo queue.
Yeah.
Not the case with other games, but League is definitely one that just makes you want to play after you watch it.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, here we go. Early action. Haru trying to get in there onto Sungwon. And there we go. He's forced to back off.
Yeah, backs off, but gets the chunk out on him. He's going to be the one securing the Scuttle Crab. And both junglers were able to take a peek at what each other's CS was. So it gives them a rough idea of what their paths are, when certain camps are respawning. Meanwhile, in the lanes, everyone's staying pretty even except in bottom, where Ruler already had a very, very big CS lead.
Yeah, I mean, we're only 3.5 minutes into the game and already up 10 CS. Seems like Sangyu was just zoned out for a while. Finally hitting level 2. He's able to get a little bit closer.
Now Sungwon gonna move up to his golems, but Haru just playing the game where he's providing a lot of map pressure for his team, making sure that they all feel really safe, and
whoa.
Well, this is interesting.
Decides against it, sees that Scuttle Crab is taken. And he finds Haru here. They could make something happen, but good response from Cuvee to go right in and support Haru.
Haru gets 5 gold from the Rek'Sai tunnel. Meanwhile, in bottom lane, lots of pokes still coming out from that Misfortune and Ashe. And now Cuvee, because he had initiative in the lane, just choosing to disrupt Sungwon. Haru moves down to mid lane. They want to make something happen.
Oh, look at this.
Oh no, Mickey.
Mickey's going in, and the exhaust comes down. Crown is going to Valkyrie away, the flash, and Mickey not able to land it. Oh, and even the last auto attack is not going to be enough. First blood going on over to Haru.
Oh, and Mickey, basically his hand was forced at that point because he knew that Haru was right behind him, and he tried to get a play, but Crown able to live with a sliver of life. And first blood now going over to Haru, and the assist on Crown. And that's also really important to mention. It's not like Crown just got the first blood solo kill on Mickey. There's the assist gold to factor into it as well. And now Mickey really far behind in the mid lane. And Sungwon's under a lot of pressure. He needs to make something happen on the right-hand side of the map, but if he comes down to bottom, Ki and Songyun are so hurt that they can't really assist him.
Yeah, and I definitely like
They might try.
Yeah, they're going to try here.
This can get very dangerous right now.
Here he goes.
Oh no.
Coming on in, going to burrow underneath. And the exhaust used onto Ruler, and someone just kind of doing a couple of circles. They're going to turn onto him. As exactly what you were saying. They were too low, they could not engage, and someone was just all alone going 1v2.
Indeed, and that's why when Sungwon makes the decision to come down to bottom, it enables Haru to pick up on camps, and we can see what happened in mid lane again. Mickey going extremely aggressive, and Crown, it looked like he was in a really bad spot. The cleanse coming into use right there, but Mickey goes flash for flash, and underneath the turret aggro just basically falls to his death. Crown almost made a mistake of turning back slightly, but had enough HP to live through that auto attack.
Yeah. That's also another great use for the cleanse. I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but you know, you're going against a Corki in mid lane. He is going to have exhaust 100% of the time against the Syndra. So you just cleanse that off, and you get your combo off anyway.
Yep. Now in mid, Crown just shoving really hard as his blue buff's up so he can expend his mana however he wants. Songyun has to be really careful there. Getting pushed back, he rejoins the fight in bottom now. And Haru just basically being a nuisance to Seonghwan.
I really like his Kha'Zix play a bit better than Ambition, to be honest. I mean, he's just so out on the map at all times. He exerts just so much pressure throughout the game. And he knows how to...
Oh!
Wow, nicely done there. Seonghwan able to smite away the red.
Haru didn't actually have smite available to him, so I'm not quite sure why he wasn't pulling the red buff further back. And now they're going really aggressive. Mickey coming over, but Cube is just north of this, and it looks like blue buff's gonna reset.
Well, yep, there it is. Syndra gonna pull it back anyway. Gonna restart it. And Haru, he was too low, so this is just going to be forced over to ROX.
The problem is they get the blue buff, Mickey gets the experience on blue, but he's losing all of the experience and the gold in mid lane. So at the end of the day, he falls behind in terms of XP and gold, but he does deny the blue buff from Crown, but I'm not quite sure if that is the best decision that they could have made at this point, because Crown's not going to be as hurt by not having blue as a normal mid laner might be on the Corki pick here.
And look at this, Cube way up in the lane. Here comes Rek'Sai from behind. The twisted advance, going to unburrow onto Cube. He's going to taunt, flash away, and it looks like he should live. They're not going to be able to dive him. And in the meantime, because Rek'Sai's top, Haru does rotate over to the blue, takes that away.
Takes it away, so they do go blue for blue in the end. Haru has it though, Crown has the package. Wants to probably make use of it, but couldn't find an opening in bottom lane. Definitely can't find one up in top lane. And having Seonghwan here, he does have red buff. That's a lot of minions, but Cube should be able to defend that if he teleported, but instead just electing to let the tower fall.
Here comes the big package, and the Shen ultimate in onto Crown. He's going to Valkyrie aggressively onto Linderon. Can they pick up a kill? Yes, they do. Nice follow-up there from Samsung. They do lose top turret, but they get a kill for it.
They do lose top turret, and that is first blood turret of the game going over to the Tiger. Samsung Galaxy now going to be able to pick up bottom tier 1 turret. And so it was a nice kill pickup there in top lane, and Mickey even trying to respond to it, wasn't able to exert a lot of pressure over mid in the meantime. And you can just see that Mickey unable to really respond to Crown's roam here, and with the Stand United coming in from Cube, it was just an easy pickup at this point. They bring down Seonghwan.
They stood United, came in there, got the kill. Fortunately, Corki's big package wasn't close enough. He just used it to get in range, so I don't believe it was doing damage. Actually gonna Valkyrie in here onto Mickey. Very confidently able to take that trade. Looks like Mickey's ultimate is down, so he was okay to take that trade.
Almost a 2,000 gold lead here for Samsung Galaxy at 10 minutes. And now enters the part of the game where Ruler's gonna begin roaming. And now that cleanse for Syndra is actually going to come in handy, because it's not like Ruler can hit an Enchanted Crystal Arrow from the Fog of War and just surprise Mickey.
Yeah, he's got to aim for probably Songyun, or even Ki if he gets too far forward. Some nice squishy targets they can try to burst down. You can use it for defense if Rek'Sai or Maokai try to jump onto him.
Yeah, and Cloud Drake is the first Drake that has spawned, and unfortunately it's not one that either team really desires. But ROX Tiger's gonna pick it up and see if they can roll a better one for the second one of the game. But all that this is actually doing is it's enabling Samsung Galaxy to spend their time fixing up their lanes, farming some jungle camps, and ROX just gets the Cloud Drake in the end.
Yeah, I suppose it makes their engage slightly better. Good for Maokai and Rek'Sai to get on in there. It gets Syndra in range a little bit better, I suppose, but definitely not the Mountain or Inferno Drake that they would have desired.
And another Cloud Drake is actually going to spawn next. If they can pick that one up, that would definitely help, as that's quite a hefty amount of movement speed for Samsung to be forced to deal with. And here, we're having another interesting scenario where they have Crown in bottom. Yes, he's on Corki, but there's so much more they could be doing.
Oh, look at this, the flash from Burrow, and down goes Zyra. They're going to try to turn onto Sungwon, though. Exhaust not going to help him out here. Crown doing a nice bit of pick damage, too. And so ROX is going to be forced back. So they trade 1 for 1.
They do trade 1 for 1 in the end there. And now, bottom lane, it looks like Crown's going to go down there, pick up that wave. They have Haru eating Gromp in the event that someone would try to go there to maybe pick him off. But not going to matter in the end, and Ruler gets a free wave again in mid lane. And the game is just basically in a stalemate, where neither team really packs the power to try to do anything to the other, and neither team really has the luxury of split pushing yet. And without an objective on the map such as Dragon, both teams are just content to just sort of wait for stuff to occur.
Haru standing right on a ward, and so they will know that he's around. I'll throw that out, force him back, drop down another ward. So just backs off, gonna rotate back to mid. Ruler just eating up all that farm. He's 20 CS ahead of Songyun right now. Ashe going to be doing a ton of damage, especially in the later stages.
JJ just trying to clear out vision control. Now it looks like Crown going to be coming back into mid lane. And the mid lane turret for both teams is such a crucial objective, because without it, then neither team can really just hold this position. And we saw it actually happen in game number 2, where because Samsung Galaxy lacked their mid-tier 1 turret, ROX Tigers were just able to turtle a position and allocate gold resources in top and bottom into their carries.
Oh boy, Core JJ might get caught out again. The ultimate's gonna come down though. Stand United coming in too, and it's gonna save someone. Look at Ruler on the left side, almost goes down too. But Rek'Sai is going to pay for it with his life, and this is a full-on engage. Haru is going to eat a bunch of damage. Now it's really up to the ROX Tigers to try to run away. It looks like Linderong does a good job of helping his team disengage.
Yep, Linderong able to disengage there, and meanwhile Cube retains his teleport because of the Stand United, and so when the split push mode begins to activate after this, Samsung Galaxy is going to have that teleport advantage available to them, and that's going to cause a lot of problems for the Tigers.
Crown going back down to bot. Corki is doing very well so far. I think he's 2-0-1 or 2-0-2.
So in this replay here, you see that Songyun unable to really dish out the damage needed to kill Core JJ. Mickey not able to finalize the kill there onto Ruler, just missing a little bit of damage, and then he was zoned off from the fight because he pushed in so hard, using his flash to get that kill, but coming up short. And then once the Stand United enabled Cube to join the fight, the positioning was too bad for the Tigers, and it got turned on them.
It was a nice job by her to jump into that back line and get onto Songyun. Really force him out of the fight, essentially, from that time onwards. Just some vision fighting going down. Cube with the red buff is actually taking a pretty nice trade here against Linderong. Gonna force him back. Enchanted Crystal Arrow does miss.
Oh, hold on. Okay.
Hold the phone.
Linderong really playing with fire.
Oh, here we go again. The Core JJ. You gotta be so careful. Haru's gonna eat that damage for him.
This is the last shot of the curtain call. Not really gonna matter. Where is Crown? And he's in bottom lane. He's trying to farm up the gold to finish his Trinity Force. And they are able to defend the turret. Comes up at the cost of Core JJ's ultimate. And Crown's actually gonna threaten shoving this wave into bottom tier 2. And that's gonna force a response from the Tigers.
Corki clears those waves so fast, and right now there's no real response. Syndra's still in mid lane, and nobody's in bot. It looks like Jin is going to head down there and do cleanup duty. Ashe extending her lead in CS, up 30 now. Just chilling in mid lane, not doing much but farming. Story of the AD carry's life for the first 30 minutes of the game.
Trinity Force now completed for Crown. And speaking of AD carries, Ruler's going to be able to complete his first core item very soon. And everyone else, I mean, it's just constantly at a standstill. Cloud Drake is available on the map. Samsung probably should look to pick this one up. You don't want to let the ROX Tigers have 2 Cloud Drakes.
Crown with the big package. Here he comes in. Immediately goes on to Songyun. Stand United coming on in. Sungwon eating a bunch of damage, but will be able to flash away to safety. And trying to make a play there. Could have converted that straight into a Cloud Drake. They might be able to get it anyway, as a lot of the ROX Tigers members are low.
Strong trying to shove in top lane. Cube recalling, gonna move his way up there. And the last almost fight that just started did come at the cost of Sungwon's flash being used, whereas Crown and Cube just used their ultimate. Or Corki used his package and Cube used his ultimate. So a little bit of a micro win in that regard. Herald might not be picked up this game. If there was going to be an opportunity to do so, it would probably be right now, but it doesn't seem like Sungwon is interested in doing so. And we enter back into a farm fest. So basically, don't expect to see anything happen unless QV's Stand United is up, because the time in which fights are ever going to occur, it's basically going to be if Samsung handshakes on it. ROX has absolutely no way in forcing a fight, especially not with one of their primary engage tools missing his flash.
Yeah, gonna have to rely on Maokai, and he's just busy split pushing right now. They're not really looking to take big fights. And, I mean, Shen's ultimate is still on cooldown, as you were saying. It's about halfway done. We were seeing, actually, Ruler sniff out this small sneak into the brush by Mickey, and is not going to go down. Will survive, and here comes Core JJ. Just hanging around. They did take the Scuttle Crowd, so they know no Rift Herald right now, at least.
Mickey up on top with Ruler. And this is fine for him. If he didn't have the cleanse, it would definitely not be fine.
Haru's up top now. And they do see him with the ward. You can see this trade down here in bot. Cuvée is going to win that on the Shen. The team at, look at this. They're going to try to engage onto Samsung, but there's 4 members. So it'll definitely be a hard feat, but Samsung not even going to let them. They just pick away at that tower and back off.
Now Cuvée in the mid lane with that Titanic Hydra. Pushes waves extremely quickly. Being forced to run away, story of this game so far. I love how aggressive Haru has been.
That's really the name of the game for Haru. It's kind of what he does. Uh-oh. Haru eating a bunch of damage as we're talking about him, but not going to die. Maybe they can convert something here as Haru is very low and is forced to back.
Stand United is available for Samsung whenever they want to use it. And with Key recalling right now and Songyun out of mana, they're not going to be able to defend this turret if Samsung actually sticks around for it.
And it looks like Crown is going to stick around, in fact. We have an Ocean Drake next. Not the best rolls on Drake so far in this game. They've both split a Cloud Drake so far, 1-1.
Summoner's Rift punishing them after last game. Both teams now suffering the worst dragons that can spawn. Ruler might just be able to pick up top tier 1 here, but Mickey is on his way. Both have to be really careful right now. Mid tier 1 and mid was actually not picked up by Samsung. Both teams were being extremely passive.
Yeah.
This is game number 3.
Also, the Ocean Drake, we joke about it, but it's decent for Corki's sustain with the poke, at least. That's really the one place where I see, okay, this is okay. But obviously the Inferno would have been better, or even the Mountain Drake, to just take down the turrets faster, sneak a Baron, stuff like that.
I'm going to pick up the Scuttle Crab, and talking about the Drakes, the Ocean Drake, it's not super bad when you do have poke champions, but if you propose the question, would you really need it to win a game? I feel like Samsung, the answer would be no to that. I don't feel like the sustain that it's going to grant is really going to be game-changing. And, I mean, Crown has been on that Hex Drinker and Trinity Force for an eternity, so he must be waiting on picking up another item. And we're going to see what it is right now.
He might go straight into Infinity Edge. Picks up the big sword there.
Picks up the BF sword and the sword penetration boots. Sorcerer penetration boots.
The big F sword.
Yep.
You guys can decide what the F stands for. Yeah, this hasn't been the most exciting game, LS. We've it's been very, very passive. The most excitement has come from the two top laners trading in bot lane. We do have the stands.
You don't like seeing take on tanks?
That's fantastic, man. It's my favorite thing to watch. I mean, the Stand United is up, so maybe they make a play. We have the big package here for Corki.
It's actually really surprising to see that this matchup is almost reminiscent of Longzhu versus Jinair from LCK Summer, where every single game was more so just decided by someone getting caught out and then a team fight occurs. But it's interesting to see that Samsung Galaxy's macro since LCK Summer and Worlds has seemed to have fallen off a lot in the early and mid stages of the game, but they still seem to have it once it does reach critical point at the very end of the game.
They make the games exciting towards the end.
Yep.
So who's it going to be? Who's going to get caught out here?
Who's going to get caught out?
I mean, Crown might look to make a play with the big packets, but it's down now. It's not going to be up for a while. So kind of missed that opportunity. They don't really have too much other engage outside of the Shen. I mean, they do have the Janna Crystal Arrow. They can maybe make a play with that. Here's the Ocean Drake. And Tiger's is like, yeah, we didn't want that anyway. You guys can take that. We'll farm.
Joke's on you. Guess what the next Drake is?
This is ridiculous. What? Double Cloud, double Ocean.
Oh, man.
If you had to choose one Drake to be, who would you be?
I feel like there's no proper way to answer this.
What do you mean? There definitely is.
You can say like Infernal, right?
Yeah, I think Inferno is the best. It's like Charmander, you know?
It's like
Charmander's the best.
Charmander.
Objectively the best.
Cloud Drake and Ocean Drake are like Bulbasaur combined.
Yeah, it's like a worse version of Bulbasaur.
The worst version of Bulbasaur. I don't know that you could get much worse.
Oh, there's the Janna Crystal Arrow. Finally, we got something going here, but never mind. Exhaust exists. Oh, maybe Mickey's gonna go down. Bunch of damage and Stand United, so Mickey can't actually go in here. The flash and the engage, and down he goes. And Mickey decides he is going to be the one that does get caught. Maybe they can push this into an objective, perhaps.
Well, at the very least, Crown should be able to push that wave up in top, at least to the tier 1 turret, and then raise that. CoreJJ gonna recall. Also interesting to note that CoreJJ is level 8 and Key is level 10. And that's a very big gap to be seeing, considering nothing has really happened.
Yeah, I wonder what he's been doing.
I feel like this is actually Haru's Gromp. Like, yeah, I don't know how many times he's killed that Gromp this game, but it's definitely not Sungwon's. So here they finally pick up the turret in top lane.
Yeah, you can see that although the game has been very passive, Samsung is still 7,000 gold ahead.
Yes. Micro advantages picked up everywhere, and here we see Mickey decides he wants to be the one that gets caught out. Haru able to deliver QV via the Stand United, able to pick up that kill.
Cleanse does not help out, just takes too much damage. Down he goes. And so we return.
I feel like I'm a kid watching Dragon Ball Z again when like Goku goes Super Saiyan for the first time and it takes like 3 episodes.
You gotta wait until next Saturday, man, for something to happen. Someone takes damage, it doesn't matter, he's Rek'Sai, he backs off. Core JJ just backs off too, doesn't go down, and back they go to the farm.
I don't know what to say really. I've never seen a team with such a gold lead at this point be this passive.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. They're taking a page out of Jinair's book.
Yeah, that's actually what it is. But I wonder where the passiveness really comes from, especially when they have so many tools available to them. I mean, it's not like every member on ROX's team has cleanse, but they're acting like they do. I also like, though, that Songyun picked up Edge of the Night, so now he can actually channel that before he starts his curtain call, and that way Ruler doesn't have the option to just ult him.
Yeah, pretty cool pickup. You don't see it all too often. Scuttlecraft picked up for Samsung. They're clearing out all the wards around Baron, so you can see there's no vision right now. Oh, nice arrow in mid-tunnel, but it just doesn't matter. He's going to back off. And I think the rest of Samsung just wasn't in position to get that kill.
Ruler is so displeased with how this game is that he's decided to take up archery.
All these guys are professional farmers. They're not even pro gamers at this point.
Finally, we might see mid taken.
It's funny to watch the ebb and flow of, okay, Samsung gets slightly out of position, and I mean, they might lose 2 turrets for it. And here's Haru in the back. Stand United coming on in, but Exhaust is going to save Songyun's life. But Shen, he wants to say more about that. Haru is eating so much damage. They are going to commit to that kill. Exhaust goes down onto Seonghwan, but they're not able to pick him up. And the taunt actually just barely misses, so the rest of the ROX Tigers are just going to run away after securing 1 kill.
Yep, they do secure a kill, and they got a turret. And now they're all going to be forced to recall, and this is going to enter back into a little bit of a passive phase.
Yeah.
But what I need to point out is you look at the summoners for Samsung, and then you look at the summoners for ROX Tigers. To do everything they just did cost them a lot. That was a very heavy investment. And the type of reward that they got for it wasn't nearly as big as they were hoping for.
Yeah, they wanted more, maybe a couple of kills, a tier 2 turret in mid.
I mean, maybe.
A Baron, but...
Well, they're going to get Ocean Drake.
Oh, fantastic. Everybody's favorite Bulbasaur.
So Haru here just basically waiting for the Stand United, and Songyun a little bit too far back, unprotected by his team, but they were able to get there in time. Cube really, really tanky. You could see Haru couldn't finalize the kill onto Songyun, and then ends up sticking around a little bit too long and got picked up. And even when Crown arrived, they didn't quite have the damage to do anything. Cube could have potentially flash taunted Linderong, but opted not to do that. And instead, Samsung Galaxy is now going to pick up an Ivysaur.
It's funny how the water element got shafted in this game. I mean, Squirtle is pretty cool, but this Ocean Drake is definitely not as cool as Squirtle.
Definitely not as cool indeed. And in the meantime, vision control. Oh, okay.
That's gonna swing wide, and Ruler way up in the front. Look at all the damage going down onto Linderong. They might actually kill a Maokai for the first time ever. Seonghwan is going to just run away. Big packets coming on in. Songyun does get the crit down. Are they going to be able to pick him up? No, actually, there's not enough damage, and Songyun does get away with his life.
Not able to pick him up there, and that's really big because had Songyun gone down, that almost surely would have meant a Baron call from Samsung Galaxy, but able to live, his presence will dissuade them from going over there. And now Cube and Haru are going to make their way to the bottom half of the map. Haru's actually only here for the Gromp.
He's got to pick up his Gromp again. And his blue. The left side blue is for Corki, for Crown. The right side blue is for Haru.
Well, he had to evolve before he went on this state. He takes care of himself.
Sprout some wings. Although I think he already had evolved his leap.
Oddly enough, though, well, yeah, he is level 16 now. And so taking a look at this replay, we can just see how this happens. So Ruler misses the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and then Linderong goes in, but the Stand United coming out from Cuvée is able to provide so much tankiness. And because of the angle of this fight, it was easy for Cuvée to land his taunt, and then because of the condensed area, it's even more difficult for Songyun to land his shots onto targets of Samsung that he wants to hit. And when Crown went onto Songyun, he was out of bullets and taking a lot of damage during his reload time, but they couldn't find the kill on him.
Yeah, I definitely like that Shen pick, not just for the global presence, but the gigantic shield for whoever gets engaged upon by Maokai or Rek'Sai. It's just a really nice pick so far for Samsung. Definitely feel like it was the right choice. So far in this game, it's looked that way. Oh, and uh-oh, Seonghwan. He's been jumped on like 7 times in this game, but just does not die. Well, I suppose he's died 3 times, but seems like he never dies. Always just tunnels away.
Next dragon of the game is Mewtwo. So he'll be spawning here,
Damn.
and that'll force a response from either team. Teleport, though, this is out of the ordinary.
Big plays coming in from Linderong. They want to get onto Core JJ. Seonghwan eating a ton of damage, and they're not even going to kill Core JJ. Finally, they pick up the kill. Syndra with that burst damage does pick him up. The tree is at half health, so they're going to back off. And another kill picked up here for the Tigers, but they're not able to convert it into anything else here.
Yep, not able to convert that into anything else other than just more breathing room for them on the map. So Crown goes a little bit forward with the Valkyrie. Haru is making his way back over on the right-hand side. Not the Linderong, but the Gromp. Coming up shortly here.
He's got the respawn time down. Linderong trying to fight back, but we all know it's Haru's Gromp.
And now, for the first time, Linderong being able to actually shove the wave into bottom. Cuvé's not going to be there to stop him, so maybe he can get some significant turret damage down. Although, never mind, as Cuvée does now make his way to the bottom, you see a lot of pings going down on the map as everyone's fighting for position, and it's extremely difficult for the Tigers to actually get vision control inside of Samsung Galaxy Blue's jungle, which they really need to provide a flank teleport for Linderong to get into the back line, because if you're the Tigers, you can't take a fight straight up.
Explains part of the reason why they've been so passive. They're also behind, and still no Baron has been picked up. Every fight that we've had has only had about 1 or 2 members dying, so there's no team wipes, there's no ace. Nothing that can let one of the teams really go for a big objective. And no, Ocean Drake does not count.
What do you mean?
Everybody hates Ivysaur, you know that.
Bulbasaur's story is like, Bulbasaur starts out really not good looking, and then it becomes Ivysaur, and
nothing, it doesn't change throughout all of his evolutions. He doesn't become good looking.
Ivysaur's kind of okay. Ivysaur's like potential for like Ugly Duckling. And then it becomes Venusaur, and it's like...
It's like, what happened? You can't explain that.
Gonna need to take a stop by the liquor store.
Yeah, him and Boo Bear are gonna go on a liquor store date. Boo Bear, man, the alcoholic.
Moving on over onto the left-hand side now, trying to get vision control around the Baron. However, the Tigers now in position to actually just pressure mid-tier 2 here. Samsung Galaxy completely out of position for this.
Not that this is the first time that this has happened either. That's how they got the mid-tier 1. And just Samsung straight up out of position. And that's a free turret going over the ROX Tigers. They're going to shield and try to back off. Cuvé's trying to come from the right side. Enchanted Crystal Arrow does land onto Linderong. And all of that Cyrus CC does go down. He's still at full health somehow. Cuvée now is going to be forced to back off. Haru looking to make a play perhaps onto that back line, but not quite able to get in there. You can see Key eating a ton of damage from Crown, but also does survive. And another fight where nobody dies.
another fight where no one dies indeed, except Elder Dragon is now on the map. And after how much damage the Tigers just took, Key basically being deleted, Samsung making a very proactive call with this Baron here.
Yeah, this is very dangerous. Look at Haru's health. He's going to be Twisted Advanced on top of, but there's no other damage to follow up. Look at the health of Mickey down there on the bottom. Now Linderong finally begins to take some damage, and he will go down. And unfortunately, it looks like the ROX Tigers were not all there together. Here comes the curtain call. Crown trying to go over, and no steal. As Sungwon rather does not get the steal. Haru survives with about 1 HP.
Yep.
And the Corky poke does force the rest of the ROX Tigers back.
Deathfire Touch not able to kill Haru there right at the very end, and he lives as well. And that was really well coordinated by Samsung Galaxy to lower the Baron at a point where it looked like they might just try to burst it down and then enable a smite fight, but instead they left it in an amount that enticed Linderong to come in, and you see the twisting advance. He's committed, and then the amount of damage that Crown was able to dish out onto Mickey forced him back, and they just gave up the Baron entirely, but they maintained and held aggro. So they killed 2 birds with 1 stone, where they forced the Tigers to come in and commit to the Baron, which was an unfavorable fight, and then they got the Baron anyway, and Sungwon ends up going down.
Maybe if we saw the curtain call right when the Twisted Advance came on in, perhaps then use that Edge of Night to stay alive and not get stunned. Here's Mewtwo going down. Samsung, they're going to have Baron and the Elder Drake. So we can finally see some big push coming down in this game.
Don't jinx it, Brendan.
Someone's going to get caught. We're going to go back.
Now in bottom lane, they are pushing. Cuvee is here with this team, which is a little bit surprising given that he has the Stand United. Samsung could definitely make use of a 1-1-3. Having Crown in mid lane with that Valkyrie, able to join the 3 that could be in bottom lane while you have Cuvee up top. But instead, it looks like they're trying to do a 2-0 or 0-2-3.
Kind of interesting. You can see the immense amount of damage that they do to turrets here, even without the Mountain Drake. It's the Baron, the Elder, and Corky. And now they're actually going to group up as 5 in the bot lane. Going to enable a bit of poke from Crown. Try to force them back. Uh-oh, Ruler taking a bunch of damage. But at the same time, it seems like ROX was going to commit in there, so they're going to lose their mid inhibitor turrets. And maybe even the inhibitor.
We do have 1 way into the base. The inhibitor is almost down. Cuvee acting as the front line. Crown able to just destroy that inhibitor really quickly. Now they turn their attention down to bottom. Tigers took too much HP, forced to actually back off and concede it.
This is looking a lot like the second game where the 2 inhibitors went down. But this time, Samsung is way farther ahead than ROX was in that previous game. And with all the buffs they have, they might even just look to end the game here. Pushing on in to the Nexus turrets now.
Oh, that is so much damage to have on your frontline tanks. Sungwon forced to go back to the Nexus. Cuvee recall, or not Cuvee, Haru trying to recall, but
Oh, forcing the Cleanse Flash out of Mickey as he does go back to base. And now it looks like they may go for it. Cuvee trying to go in and taunt onto Sungwon, but Sungwon is able to flash away too. Cuvee eating a ton of damage. Maybe they're going to be able to kill the tree here. Down he goes, and that should be the game. We see ROX trying to put up a defense, but look at Crown doing all that damage. Now going to turn on to Sungwon, and that's going to be it. Game number 3 going on over to Samsung.
Game number 3 goes to Samsung on the back of Elder and Baron. Able to finally penetrate the base of the Tigers. And Haru showing up big again. Even though there was an extremely passive mid-game, the early game presence that he put out for his team and just enabling his laners and basically constantly keeping tabs on Sungwon, it's completely different watching the Samsung Galaxy with Haru versus when they have ambition.
Yep. Haru coming on in, getting another win for Samsung. I'm still interested about the stat of what is their record with Haru and what is their record with Ambition. And definitely a big story for Samsung this season has been Haru.
Which is really interesting because that's not something you would have expected coming into this split. And on the flip side, the Tigers, I mean, the win that they managed to secure and all the advantages that came with it in game number 2, It wasn't necessarily like smoke and mirrors, but it was more so through the usage of the split push on the Fiora and having the Jace available that is able to be flexed. And whenever they try to have a very standard straight-up team comp, they usually just fall apart. So lots of work to do for both of the teams. Samsung coming out ahead today. Feel bad for Mickey right now. Impressive Jace performance in game number 2, but the Syndra performance just basically went downhill, especially after the first blood.
Yeah, that was a very unfortunate fight for our Syndra player, Mickey, in that game. I was looking forward to a lot more burst damage, but as you were saying, once he got behind, the Corki was just so much more impactful than the Syndra. So, guys, we are going to go straight to the analyst desk / interview, so we'll be right back.